Do you have
Um,
time to talk about random Warhammer stuff?
I suppose this week there's a fair amount of stuff to talk about because this past weekend they had one of their kind of online reveal streams to get people excited about new stuff. So I guess we can talk about that today, huh?
And I feel this was maybe
One
one
of
of
the
the
best.
there were actually some interesting things and stuff that, you could get excited about. Or I mean, one of the things that was revealed was something about Kill Team, and it was hands down was the most disappointing of the things.
Yeah, we can talk. I guess we can talk about that when we get to it. But that was sort of my impression too. So I guess first we can talk about hobby progress and such. It's been a pretty busy time for I think all of us, but I
Mhm.
think as I said last week, I finished this orc knob. Here's just a picture of him again with his little Gretchen buddy. So yeah, he's been done. And then last stream we talked about last stream we talked about trying to start converting some Necromunda models,
Mhm.
sort of based on the Pilgrim War band, the Church of the Red Church. And so I've spent a little bit of time working on a model or so to go along with that. Um, I still haven't. I still have a lot of work that I need to do, but the model is based on one of the Scion of Flame, or I think they're called Scion of Flames, new Warcry warband. Um, in this case, this model I was really liked her boots. But I've spent a lot of time trimming off a lot of the dumb detail and stuff on the model. Which there
There's
was,
always some dumb detail.
well, yeah, I mean, there was a fuck of a lot on this. She had this stupid, like, belly plate, which so I trimmed all that shit off. And I've started to do some preliminary green stuff work to like fill in some of the different holes and whatnot. Um, her head needs a lot of work. One of the things that's you can even see from this picture here, the fucking mold line on this was like they just designed it. It was just
Did
designed
it really
poorly.
go down the front of her
It
face?
literally bisects her fucking face.
Yeah, wow.
It's like literally the worst place they could have put the mold line. It's like I don't think Games Workshop, whoever does, lays out the sprues and stuff.
I mean,
I don't
sometimes
know.
it's they've
Sometimes
got
they do a good job, but like Jesus, some of them
how
are really bad.
that, seems like it had to have been somewhat of an oversight.
I don't know.
That
It's bad. It's bad. And so here, like, I started trimming off the mold line, but I it'll take some work. And then the mold lines, I feel now on all GW kits are worse than they used to be.
mm,
So it's like they're always really significant. And I don't know. Yeah, we've complained about it a lot in the past, but yeah, I don't think in the past year or two, I almost feel as if Games Workshop's regressed a little bit in their placement of the seam lines or the mold lines, and they're almost like their quality control in what they think is acceptable with mold lines. Like years ago, like in the third edition of Warhammer 40,000, when they started making the newer multi-part plastic space marines and some of that stuff, a lot of the stuff from that era, the mold lines were really bad.
yeah.
Um, but after a while, they got a lot better, and for a while, I thought they were pretty good. And every so often, you'd get a set that was really bad. Now I sort of feel like literally everything I receive from them is really bad.
Yeah, that's a shame that it's come to that.
Yeah. But
The shame
I
her stance is so wide.
yeah, it's fucking Games Workshop. That's like literally every single model they make, they're in like a crouching, like wide stance. And I mean this one is one of the better ones.
Yeah,
Which
I guess. I mean, I'm sure the sculptors take courses and things, but somehow to get anatomy right and poses, whatnot. But almost like they have a bulletin, like make sure and like make sure you include at least 3 of the 4 poses you create to be like this.
and what's interesting in the Scion of Flames, like some of the models in it are not crouching or like
And there's
really
one with
low
the
to the
mask that's just standing straight up and down and has the little curved dagger.
yeah, he's one of the examples of that. But yeah, so for this model, like trimmed off most of. She has like a dragon cloak or whatever wrapped around her. Like I trimmed most of that down, and I think I'm gonna have to resculpt some of it to make it look more like a cloth. And
You
then,
see, because of the loincloth that she has, it made it imperative that the wide stance be used.
well,
'Cause
yeah, it's
otherwise
like that's literally why it's there. Like,
it would be hard to sculpt the cloth to be, you know, hanging around the legs if they were
yeah.
closer
Well, I mean, for a
together.
while I was considering just removing that like loincloth, but I thinking about it for a while, I thought, you know what, it's probably actually gonna look bad.
Yeah, I think it
It'll
probably
just re-emphasize the fact that she's really bracing herself in a really low braced stance. So I decided I was just
I feel in this case because 'cause you're kinda gonna the thought was maybe you're gonna give her a brace of pistols and stuff, so, like, in some sense, maybe it can be imagined that she is sort of bracing herself in, like, a high noon sort of quick
yeah, yeah,
turnaround, that maybe it could work a little bit, but
yeah,
it's bad when you have to, like, make up excuses and stories why, like, maybe this could work.
yeah.
Like, well, if I squint and struggle, like, I can come up with a conceivable reason why they might be like this.
Yeah. And then so I replaced one of her arms with an arm from one of the Sister of Battle Arco-Flagellant models. In this case, it was one of the female models from the that like limited edition box set that they
Mhm.
were initially released in. Mainly because one of the arms, which has some stupid buzzsaw like whip, it has a nice like the bionic part is it looks like braced on and strapped onto the arm. So I thought that kind of had a neat look to it. So if in this case she cut off her hand, so she's now sort of replaced that with this like metal stump of sorts.
Yeah, I think that's cool 'cause I could kind of foresee these from the Church of the Red Athenaeum that they're not so since they're not on Terra, maybe they're a
Hmm.
little more combative and whatnot, and not just so maybe wanting to do something to reduce infection and make it not so much of a liability.
Well, yeah. So I think this one here, and I think maybe a bunch of the models for this warband, they're gonna be a little more. They're gonna be more like fighters, whereas for the Pilgrim event, most of the ones we had were very like meek. Most of them didn't even have weapons.
Mhm.
So this one, sort of my idea is she's going to be a gunfighter, and let's see. Here's a little picture of a whole bunch of pistols that I'm holstered pistols that I'm working on for her, and a bunch of little things that are going to be like magazine holsters. And so I think she's just going to have a whole bunch of holstered pistols on her person that she'll be able to draw with her left hand. And so she'll have a whole bunch of pistols, and if she were in a combat situation, she would, instead of reloading the pistol, because it would be a little harder one-handed, she'll
Yeah.
just draw another pistol. Hey, Eli. So, in that sense, I've been thinking a little bit about where to place the pistols, but she's gonna have a bunch of them.
I guess we'll have to think about the lore and background and stuff, because it could be either because they're on Necromunda and Necromunda is such a war-torn planet that they're more combative, or it could just be also that after the rift and stuff that opened up in the 40K universe and how everything went to shit, that maybe everyone kind of mobilized in an aggressive way. I don't know. The
yeah.
Kusi victim, or uh, it's called something like that.
Yeah, so and because I mean I guess we also had there was like kind of like a militant arm of the church as well. So
Modeled around the Sisters of Battle in a slight way.
yeah. So it could I sort of feel like there could be like a more, since these members of the church are probably going out from Terra from the church, like missionaries and of that sort, they might have a larger contingent
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
of stuff like that. Um, but yeah, no, that's just something to consider. And I guess with these models, one of the things that I sort of wanted to explore was sort of like kind of I'm always doing to some degree. I want to make sure the weapons that they're carrying are like even smaller than I normally do in some sense.
Yeah.
Because I want them to look kind of like meek, and they're not going to look heroic, I guess. And
Yeah.
most of the 40 or all of the 40k weapons, who am I kidding? Um, are way too heroic looking for my taste. And in this case, I think would just sort of undermine the whole notion or the whole idea behind
Yeah, yeah.
this warband. And I guess one of the things that I was thinking about, it's sort of funny. I almost feel like if any of the people watching this, if you've ever spent time converting new, smaller, different weapons for models, particularly with rifles, one of the big struggles is always like, if you're not just gonna re-sculpt the hands, is trying to get it such that both hands will hold like the weapon properly. In this case, like I almost don't even have to worry about that too much, because most if not all of the warband members will be at least missing one if not both hands. So
Yeah,
um
yeah.
in that sense it'll probably be easier for me to like accommodate some of the different poses and stuff. So I don't know, we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, so that's what I've been working on. I'm In terms of the sculpting, it's mostly just been filling in some of the gaps and putting down some of the initial detailing. So like I still have a lot more that I need to do in that area to make everything at least look good at least in my mind. But
Yeah.
Hmm. And then I guess I'm probably gonna have to, if she has this like little sash on her back, like I'm just gonna have to re-sculpt that sash probably, which in some regards, like I just spent all this time sculpting in some of this detailing on the back. But yeah, so I'll probably just sculpt over all that, but whatever. um, so it's going okay. And I'm not sure for this model, so she's already missing a hand, and she's probably gonna have a bunch of like scars and stuff like that. I don't know what other like wounds and stuff she would have. Like maybe I'll have her missing an eye or something.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, Charting Squid, nice to have you here.
Yeah. I
Is
probably also am going to remove her hair.
it kind of looks like the emote that you used is our little skull logo with sunglasses on. That's cute.
Oh, it does look like that.
I wonder, is that something that you can just do to emotes now that I'm unaware of? It could
Could
be. I'm
be.
not too up and up on the emotes.
No, I'm certainly not. That's, I guess, something that we should. I should
Make
look
it really
into it a
worth
little more.
subscribe.
Yeah.
Which I mean, that suggests that Charting Squid has subscribed. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Yeah, but so I don't know. I've been working on that, and I guess I also, which didn't take any pictures of, I've been assembling.
Damn, modifying it with 900 channel points. Those are some cool shades. I like it.
That's great.
I like it.
I've also been slowly working on an unmade model and doing some small modifications, and that will probably be one of the other models I use for this Necromunda warband, or at least base some models off of, because they're also scaled rather well. They're still mostly in squatting poses though, so that sort of sucks, but it's the
Oh,
constant
wow.
struggle.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at the channel points unlocking things. The sunglasses is the best one. You can have like using like the thinking hand or whatever, but it doesn't work as well as the cool sunglasses.
So you're asking if there are any big model plans for 2021. So I guess one of them is to, which is sort of what I've been talking about now, is making maybe even a new Necromunda warband, expanding on the the warband we made in the Pilgrim event, which I don't even
Back in 2006, 16, I guess, right?
2000. Okay, so that was a long time ago. But in that case, we had a warband based on kind of a religious cult that worshiped the emperor and got the notion that they could become closer to the emperor by mimicking the wounds he received from Horus. So, and that in itself is sort of interesting because I think most people wouldn't even know the wounds that the emperor received during that battle. So it's just like they're doing whatever. Like, oh,
Yeah,
I'm gonna cut off a hand, or oh, I'm gonna cut off my legs, or whatnot. So,
yeah, so they are a bit like kind of some type of um redemptionists.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I
they're
think the
similar to
Pilgrim
that.
event was in 2016, Eli, or quite a while ago. But yeah, they're just somewhat of a radical sect of the Imperial cult uh, that hasn't been completely eliminated.
Yeah.
We did wrote a whole bunch of background lore and stuff back during the Pilgrim stuff that's buried in the blog somewhere. But um, this seems like a fun opportunity to expand that, do a little bit more with it, and show that the cult has expanded to other planets and such in throughout the Imperium.
Yeah.
But yeah, the leader of the Pilgrim Warband at the time was this. Oh yeah, so I started to say 2006 and then said, "Oh no, 2016." Yeah, 2006 was a real long time ago. We didn't have the idea for this that far back. Yeah, but the leader of the cult is like missing her legs and her one of her arms and stuff, and is on this like moving little carriage thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it
Oh,
we
hey, Johnny.
yeah, if they'll be painted this year, that what I feel would be the goal. But
Yeah, so
I don't know.
I think I will. I think with with these models, I sort of would like to say once I finish converting them, I'll actually paint them. Oh, hey, Squelch. Did I pronounce your name right? Maybe not. Um, but and I guess you also brought up the notion of like Xenos mercenaries and such. So that's another thing that I want to do more of this year as well. Like I need to actually finish painting that Eldar bounty hunter that I made and
God, that was at the start of
start of
2020, and
last year. And then like I've finally finished converting this like orc knob. And I think I will paint to be like a little mercenary to go along with that Eldar pirate as well. Um
yeah, have
so
all the different.
yeah, all the different races and such. So I think I will hopefully within a month or so paint him. It's been ages since I painted an orc model.
Yeah, no, it's true. I
I
guess
mean, the
I.
last orc model that I painted was one of the old Tin Boy models. So
Mhm.
that was hardly even an orc, but that was in 2016.
I actually painted a one of the work or what's it called? Warhammer Underworlds models. One of the orc models.
Oh shit, I forgot about that.
And started to paint another and then stopped, like I stopped most things.
Yeah, so
But
I don't know. I guess for this year, I want to continue building some different Xenos models to go along with the Eldar Pirate, paint them, and then continue working on some other like Ink 28 models and paint them as well. So I think those are the main goals. Hey, Unsupervised Darkness, nice to have you here.
mhm.
And I guess related to that, I also want to continue to make some tutorials and such to put on the blog. Mainly, we'll see, like, maybe if people have suggestions of tutorials and stuff that we could do, we could try and,
No.
yeah, base them off of suggestions if you have them. But towards the end of last year, roughly every 2 months, I tried to have a new tutorial based around converting smaller weapons. So I think last year we had that Sister of Battle Bolter, an Imperial las pistol.
A plasma
Oh, and a
rifle.
plasma rifle. Yeah.
Mhm. Wouldn't you just love to make the gun?
Yeah, that's something I should do because
This is a good
they're
question.
really large.
Are any releases we're hoping to see in 2021? In some sense, just any Xenos releases would be great. Like, it would be great to, um, see some more orcs that weren't just kinda rushed, and that were a bit more like the level of quality that we're seeing from the Iron Jaws for Age of Sigmar.
You know, I would love to see orcs that look more like that, and because I feel at this point, aside from maybe some of the orc vehicles and stuff, I almost feel like the majority of the orc line, if they revisit the orcs, they should just redo all of it.
Yeah,
Because
but
like the old orc boys, they kind of look like gorillas, which is fine. But
I feel they're very inconsistent. They're very
seeing, yeah, it would be awesome to see some HUD models or anything like that.
yeah,
Um, well,
you need to
so
converting.
yeah, so that's one of the things that I would like to do this year as well. Like I started a HUD conversion
That would be good
maybe
to go
even a
to
year or two ago.
and
And yeah, so that's one of the things that I would like to finish that model, and that they could go along with the Eldar Pirate as well. Um, yeah, so
I
I should do that.
guess and we'll probably talk about it a little bit later, but the new Warhammer Quest game that's kind of exploring a city that's, I don't know, under the sway and influence of perhaps a vampire or some undead stuff. I'm kind of excited about that to see what other models are released for it because, well, I think in general, like all the Warhammer Quest stuff, like Blackstone Fortress, Silver Tower, those sorts of things, feel are where the most interesting models come out of Games Workshop now, because they're not super tied to an army that they need to make or need to make a bunch of, units, rank and file units and such.
Yeah, I
They're
mean, I think all of those games are where some of the most interesting
I mean, that's why,
releases have
uh,
been.
shit, because for like the Amble was remade,
Yeah,
the
Blackstone Fortress was great. Like they made the Amble, they made the Zote model, um, all of that stuff. That's what we want to see.
and I feel this new game, just the fact that it'll be able to do different stuff, and more than in some sense, I'm just excited that the new Quest game seems like it will be very themed. Like
No, I
'cause
think that's good.
Blackstone Fortress, there was certainly a strong theme, but to some extent, it also went to like there's a strong theme, but in actuality, it's mainly just a bunch of chaos shit.
No,
Like
yeah, like the first large expansion for the game, maybe it was called Escalation, was just a bunch of worse looking chaos cultists. The ones that just look much worse than the ones in the base box. So it's like that should have just been exploring more of the aliens within the fortress. Oh, hey Greg.
Good evening.
hey,
Nice to have you here.
Good to be here.
Um
We
but yeah,
talking
so
about new releases or something?
we're kind of
um we're
that.
probably soon gonna move into that, but we were sort of talking about we were asked a question if there were any releases we were hoping would come this year. And the
Well,
Imperial Guard.
to be honest, I just like a lot more Primaris.
oh my god, that's hopefully not that. But yeah, as Greg mentioned, it would be great to see new Imperial Guard. new Imperial Guard that are proportioned better and more representative of a wider
Long as
demographic of people.
long as it's not just more Space Marines, I'd
I'm
probably
fine with just about anything. And maybe not Tau. I don't really give much of a shit about Tau.
but Tau could be cool if they had a focus on, like, some of the other Xenos races associated with them, like, did
That's
more
true.
recruit,
That's true
like,
because
people been doing some cool conversion work and stuff with recruit or, like, the
yeah.
vested, all that stuff. Like, I feel there's the opportunity to make that more interesting, or even just dealing with some of the other different casts in the Tau could be somewhat neat, but just making a
Yeah.
couple more battle suits and stuff isn't super. Yeah.
I mean, it could. Yeah, so I don't know. I would still be fine with them.
The current Catachan models are fine. Yeah, those Catachan models sure are good. Love using them. I guess admittedly, that kit, the Catachan kit, is probably like 22 years old or something.
It's really old. Yeah. And the funny thing is, as like the plastic Cadian models, there is a lot about them that is really nice. Like their hands are pretty small and look great. Their weapons look great. It's just their feet are titanic in size.
Yeah, they are.
And they all look the same. Also, I guess maybe we just want to go into talking about the release stream or whatnot that happened this past weekend because they revealed a lot of stuff there,
Yeah, might as well.
and we have opinions about nearly all of it, as I'm sure most of you could have guessed. Okay, so I don't we don't really have to talk about all of this stuff because I don't care that much, but um and we could just skip some
Small Wraith
stuff.
Knight. Small Wraith Knight.
Yeah, I don't we do big feet.
Kind of feel this small Wraith Knight. It's weird. It's almost like they're like, you know what? People really dislike the Grey Knight Wraith Knight because
Let's
it
do it
was so
again.
out of left field and didn't seem to fit with other aesthetic choices. Like, let's make it fit by making other
Mm-hmm.
equally dumb mecha things.
Yeah, like I
Like, what are those stupid the Centurion, those Space Marines with the grav guns and whatever? I guess they kind of have a similar thing, like a small dude inside
mm-hmm.
thing.
But see there it's a lot easier to it's a lot easier to see how they fit in them. And they don't look like they're just hanging out in front. So this it doesn't look as awkward as
It's
it doesn't look as awkward as the Dread Knight, because she is sort of there, but she's incorporated in the mech a little better. It's just like, why is her head exposed? Like, I don't know, that's stupid. Like, you saw, and maybe it was their video that I didn't watch. She can wear a helmet, which I guess that's good. She should probably be doing that. But then the other thing is, I guess her legs are supposed to go into the legs of the robot. I mean, I think maybe that could sort of work, but it looks pretty weird. Like, she would have to have her legs spread really wide in an unnatural position to get that to work. So, I don't
and
like that.
so they can have the loincloth, the piss cloth right there.
Yeah, I don't know. Like that whole thing just doesn't work for me. I know we were talking to Modern Synthesis or Mr. Pink about it, and he was suggesting that if you just had like a little armored section going down behind this the loincloth where her legs could just be in there, it would look better. And I agree with
But
that.
that would kinda still brings up the point, like, why would they even
Yeah, like I'm more into the guys. If you want like a mech for your army, just go find another better designed, cooler mech. There are tons of them.
you feel in some sense they wanted it to be like the Aliens exosuit thing, but that was like a loading sort of maintenance thing that wasn't made for fighting, so, like, it makes
Yeah.
sense there would be, like, a little cage and such that you'd have unrestricted vision and stuff like that. Whereas that's not what this is. This couldn't do any maintenance work. One of its arms is a fucking gun. And that
Yeah.
just
So what I think my favorite part of the model is that she has a little holstered sidearm on the side of the model, and there's even a little a little pouch to hold another magazine for her pistol. Like I thought that was kind of a fun detail. I don't really know if they would have those things kind of just hanging off in the front there, but I like
um,
the fact that they added that.
was a surprise. It surprised me. Some way, it's it's kind of annoying that, like, people just bought the Sister of Battle Codex and now, like, they're
Yeah.
releasing units. And I guess I don't play games, so why should I care? But the way
Yeah, they just released the codex, and it's like now they're adding a new unit that I don't feel was even needed, and I don't know. I think in general, this was something I didn't want to see. They did it, and it's okay, but I would never.
like, I wish both of my hands were guns almost every day.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like it. I don't think it was needed, and I don't think this does this even add like a valuable like tactical element to the who knows, we don't play the game, whatever, let's move on. um One of the things that I was excited about for this preview was the notion they were talking about they were going to show some stuff about Kill Team, and I think what they revealed here was one of the biggest cop outs they could have done for Kill Team. I mean, mind you, I didn't listen very closely to any of the stuff, but from what I can tell here, it looks as if instead of just releasing like a new retooled version of Kill Team where the rules were tweaked and they like reworked what units and stuff you could get, they're just releasing a new box set that has two kind of dumb and uninspired war bands. Like, and I don't know, it's just not. And on top of that, it's just adding more stupid Primaris Space Marines. Like, that's one of the things. Like, Kill Team is like oversaturated with like you can use all your Space Marine units in there, but then if God willing you want to play Imperial Guard in Kill Team, like you can't get fucking shit. You can't like even get Imperial Guard like shotguns or something. So it's like I remember when I was trying to make an Imperial Guard kill team with all the stuff that all the special weapons that I had sculpted and reworked, and like I made a whole bunch of cool looking guard, like one with a shotgun and all this stuff. And it's like, well, can't get this, can't get that, can't get that. So it's like, I don't know,
Yeah.
not exciting. I mean, I guess it's good. They're new. They're probably plastic flayed ones.
Look at
That's
the 48 Necron terrain.
Well, but the flayed ones are cool and exciting, but that means they're probably not going to be released. Like, you have to buy this dumb box to get them for, like, 6 months.
yeah, they're
That
bad. They're
Is that
bad.
all that's in it? 5 blade ones, 5 heavy intercessors, and the 2 captains.
looks like it.
That's kinda nice that they don't overlook. Hey, that blade one looks cool. They don't overload you with shit.
Yeah,
And hell, I almost think this looks like a more exciting Kill Team box set than the original one. It had
I
all
guess
that
that's
garbage
true.
in it.
The Space Marines in it are shittier than the Space Marines in other boxes.
Those Blade ones are cool.
The flayed
Yeah,
ones look pretty good. Like,
Much better than the older variant.
I like hate these Primaris heavy intercessors. Like, I like the fact that they're doing more with the Gravis armor. That's good, but the heavy bolter looks good too. Like, that looks nice. That's how I would envision a heavy bolter. But what, I don't even know what they are. They called heavy bolt rifles? They're really bad. I mean, I guess they kind of tried to add a stock to them, but he's even sort of shouldering it, but he can't look down the barrel. They're just bad. They're bad.
I mean, you could regular Bolter and they'd look like the rest of the Marines fine.
Yeah. And I also don't the captain,
he's the worst.
he's pretty bad. Like, he has this huge, it's actually, the sword's actually kind of small for a Space Marine, but it's just like hanging down in front of him. He could probably barely even walk with that fucking thing. It's on this little strap here, so it would swing around and hit him. It's not
He's
good.
using enough pain to support himself because his rifle's so heavy that he's struggling in
He's
his
wrapped it
back.
in purity seals though, because that's cool. Pretty cool. Okay, yeah, so, I don't know. I was hoping they would do more with Kill Team than just release a new box. And I mean, who knows, maybe they will modify the rules or something a little in the box, but I
But
sort of doubt it.
it has 48 times Necron terrain. We can't
Yeah,
forget
that's pretty cool. And a double-sided game board. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not excited about that.
I would be excited to play with the models in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, I was sort of surprised, like, they actually have another Adeptus Titanicus model. Like, a Titan larger than the or the Warlord. The War Master Titan. And it's pretty cool.
It's mainly neat just because it's designed after one of those, like, an older Jess Goodwin sketch. Like, it's cool seeing that brought to life, and just those
Yeah.
older, bigger Titans that are kinda ridiculous with guns in their knees and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, it very much has those vibes to it. And because, like, I wonder, like, I know Eli, he thinks Adeptus Titanicus is their, like, one of their best rule sets. And it's neat that they're still supporting it because it's a pretty expensive game and I don't think a whole lot of people play it. I mean, I would love to play it, but we need to assemble the models to do it. And Eric, you've actually, in your defense, you've assembled a lot of them.
Yeah, I did, but not not enough.
Yeah.
Not
Um,
enough to actually play some games of Adeptus Titanicus.
but yeah, so it's cool. It'll be interesting to see more pictures of the model and see, like, if it has other weapon options and stuff for it.
Those will be resin Forge World accessories that will go out of stock.
Yeah, that's true. But it does have at least one alternative head, and so that's good. Eli seems to say now, if you like mold lines, my man, you're in. Yeah, no, I can imagine. Um, all the tiny little pieces with mold lines everywhere.
These sorts of mecha robot things are not like Bandai, like Gunpla kits at all.
No. No, but so this reveal was great. It's awesome to see that they're continuing to make other models and stuff and support the game. Now we'll see, will Forge World ever release a 40K scaled version of this? They might. We'll see.
that will weigh because it's in resin. It will weigh so much that you'll struggle to lift
It
it.
might be in the wrong stream. We're not talking about mammary glands, and this big robot doesn't have any.
True.
But we'll see. We'll see if you keep sticking around. But we probably won't be talking about that.
So I guess they also have this, like, they're releasing a new book to coincide with that, and I guess that's just because they have to have rules for this larger War Master Titan. I wonder if it'd be interesting if it will have rules for other models as well, or I would sort of imagine, based on what they often do, it
Yeah, I feel like
will not
when
really have anything else in it.
there's like every time there's a new release, there's another book that, and I'm sure they're nice enough, but I feel that's a bit tedious at times where you have all these books that you buy, never use. Like I'm sure there was one book specifically for that Warbringer Titan.
Oh yeah, there probably was, because they released that. I'd like to see the Warbringer Titan in person. Cool. And so the War Master is pretty significantly larger than the Warlord. So how much do we think that's gonna be? $150? More than that? Because how much is one of the Warlords?
The Warlord now.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Maybe it's like 110 though.
It's gonna be a lot. But they're cool. Guess they started this. They showed a lot of Age of Sigmar stuff.
$100 a Warlord.
How much?
110. Yeah, maybe
110.
100 and well, it could be like
180.
180 Giants or something, which
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. So this release thing, they also had a whole bunch of Age of Sigmar stuff, and in many regards, I think the one Age of Sigmar Warhammer Quest thing is probably the most interesting thing they showed. They've continued to show more stuff for the Lumineth Realm Lords. One's this like character model of
No
this
character much.
weird kitsune looking fox archer.
Wouldn't it be terrible if you had that model?
Yeah, how would you store that?
Well, it reminds me of that one Stormcast model that it's just like just takes up so much space.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of Age of Sigmar's thing though, to make these centerpiece showpiece things.
Yeah, I mean the model's fine. I the little scabbard or the little quiver they have is kind of neat. Like, despite how huge it is, they still don't have that many arrows.
Yeah, I don't feel the Realm Lords, yeah, Brett are like I don't know, all over the place in their design choices and decisions that it's kind of hard to.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really read anything about them, so I can't really comment, but it's all over the map. Like they have the mountain cow type thing. They have the more like
But
sphinx-like creatures, this kitsune fox archer. Um but yeah,
yeah,
Johnny, you're right. Like if you had this model, it would be broken in. Well, I guess it would probably be broken once you pulled it out of the box.
broken on sprue, yeah, yeah, it would.
But so it's a neat model. Like I'm not that excited about it, but it's cool. Um, they have some more of these like endless spell things, and these are actually the snake things kind of neat.
I like.
And the bloody swords are interesting, but I mean that doesn't look at all like blood, but cool. It's magic blood.
Yeah, so it behaves differently.
Yeah. Um, and then they get into Warhammer Underworlds. They showed a new warband for this, a warband filled to the brim with vampires. And this I was sort of surprised. I was sort of assuming there'd be like one vampire and then a bunch of like ghouls or something along those lines. But to me, it looks like they're all vampires,
Yeah,
and
it's interesting.
and they're pretty much all good. And
Which is the best?
mm, this first one, like the blood dragon guy in the blood red armor, I think I would certainly say he was the best. If he didn't have his foot on that rock, no question he would be the best.
I still
Um,
kind of feel that rock position for the game that it's in and
it
stuff.
doesn't
Anytime
feel as forced as.
it feels less forced than most I'm standing on a rock models.
So I mean, he very much has like the classic blood dragon look to me, and I like that's cool. His sword isn't. It's probably his sword's still too big, but
I don't like his
it's
face too
cool.
much.
It's fine. It's a little different. Like overall he looks great. His armor largely makes sense.
I like the dude holding the big mace. The mace is dumb, but
The mace is dumb and the pose seems kind of weird.
His legs are spread too far apart.
well,
And his head with this whole warband, a lot of them I feel their heads are a little too small. Like this guy with the mace, like his head looks too
that's
small to
the
me.
vampire.
That's what vampires are, I guess. Yeah.
He's bracing because he's about to whirl around the pole.
Maybe he is.
I mean, I like his armor and I like aspects of him, but yeah, like his mace is so stupidly large.
But it's
I mean,
fine.
sure, he's a vampire. He's strong. He can probably wield such a thing, but that doesn't mean he would want to.
Yeah. The female one, she looks good. She's actually standing up tall and straight. She's not standing on a rock. Like that's impressive in itself. Her hair is probably a little too crazy, but
His
she's
small Malifaux head.
yeah, and her head's really small. Um,
When you become
hers,
a vampire, your head starts to shrink.
yeah, they're undead, right? So I mean, she looks good. But yeah, her head's too small, her hair's too crazy. Her blades are pretty good, but she probably would have been better with just one. Unless they made them these about half the
Okay.
size. Um, and then the final one, this is the most classic GW model because he's really getting down into that crouching, squatting pose.
The mace dude, like the larger mace one, is are his like boots or whatever? Are they slightly hooked?
They are hooked, which is cool.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
I like that too.
All right, yeah. Well, we can go to Wing Dude. It's
Wing Dude, I like him. He look like his boots are cool. Um, his mace isn't. I mean, it's too big, but it's not terrible.
hmm
He's in
With
your.
his hair, it looks like he stepped right out of My Hero Academia.
Probably did. He probably did. But yeah, so overall, this warband, it's a nice looking warband. Like it looks as if all of the models in it, they're all different vampires, and each one is surprisingly unique. So that's cool.
I feel they're surprisingly unique, but still kind of hitting on some of the older archetypes, but
Hmm.
modernizing them and making like it like look good.
Actually,
I
this
feel
dude
like
with the wings, look at that weird shoulder pad he has. The spiked
yeah.
shoulder pad. So yeah, overall, like I feel all of these models are going to be heavily used in conversions
Oh yeah.
across the board. Like the Blood Dragon dude, you could probably convert him into like a Blood Angel like character model.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Johnny says the winged dude has troll doll hair. Yeah,
Oh
like the
my
treasure
god,
trolls.
you're
You're
fucking
right.
right.
You're right.
That's exactly what that is. That's great. That's
Oh
what
my
you should
god, yeah,
do.
that's creepy.
Rolled all hair. Yeah, so I don't know. I like all of them. Um I would be interested to see in terms of I'd be interested to see scale wise like how they compare to some of the other models because I know for instance the some of the plastic vampires, like that plastic vampire lord riding the dragon or whatnot, he is massive. So it's possible that some of these models are really, really big and scale quite a bit larger than.
The winged dude with the troll hair, you could probably like put a little gem on his tummy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's room
Well,
for it.
Brett, when I first saw the female vampire model on Instagram before I knew what it was part of, I thought it was a Warhammer 40,000 model.
Yeah, but nope.
I mean, she looks like one of the a rogue trader or something that they would make. Tommy Jim, be incredible. Um, but yeah, so they're good. Like I feel we will see them very frequently in conversions in the future. Oh, Dave saying these are far better than most of the newer GW stuff. So I think that's largely true. They're each one's very interesting. They're sculpted well. Their poses are overall pretty good. So yeah, it's a good war band.
Well, I also I like that they're maintaining some of the neat imagery from the old vampire count books and stuff, maybe changing it and modernizing it slightly, but not feeling like the need, like, oh, when vampires come to Age of Sigmar, we need to do something really different to make them
Let's make
not
them pirates.
new. Let's make them cooler. I like that.
Hmm.
Maybe that even leads up into the new Warhammer Quest thing they revealed. I like how it seems. I mean, I guess we need to see more to be sure, but I like how it seems to be very themed around something and not trying to like let's cram all of Age of Sigmar into one box and cheapen it. Which I guess people are like, oh, now that this new box game's being released, no new Mordheim or whatever. But like Mordheim, one of the strongest things about that old skirmish game was its theme was so focused. They weren't trying to fit in all of the old world in there. And
Yeah,
I that this, or at least it looks like this new game isn't trying to fit everything in there. It's focusing on a theme to explore it, and that's more interesting.
yeah. So I guess that sort of leads into the final thing, which is probably the most interesting thing that they showed, is they're finally releasing another Warhammer Quest game called Cursed City, which is another similar to Silver Tower. It's a Warhammer Quest game taking place in the Age of Sigmar, like universe or multiverse or realms, whatever you call them. Um,
It reminds me so much of Vampire Hunter D,
yeah, it does.
a weird vampire, and it's like eclectic coterie of champions and stuff that they have to deal with. In some sense, they're like going through a city or whatever. It almost seems like it could have just been so much just going through their weird castle or something. So like the Castlevania vampire
Hmm.
like thing.
But so for this, they didn't really show many models. They just showed two, and like one for the heroes and one for like the villains, we'll say. And both of them look pretty good, and they're interesting. Let's look at the villain first. It's some weird, like, grave
Digger thing.
digger type thing. He has this weird looking, maybe that's supposed to be a shovel he's holding. And then he has like this kind of dumb looking hook that maybe he's like pulling open a coffin.
Neat and kind of terrifying looking, I suppose. Whereas, like, because I kind of feel like Age of Sigmar too often doesn't really convey terror at all. It more
Mm-mm.
just like, let's make some new undead. Well, wouldn't it be cool to be these He-Man esque uh, Bone Reaper things that I mean are kind of cool in some ways, but it doesn't convey the dread of the dead coming back to life and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Where
no, I agree.
does
Um,
something.
but he's cool. He has these weird like stakes or whatever stuck in his back with skulls on them.
Mm-hmm.
His feet look pretty small. Like I like that. Like they look small. I mean, part of it might be because he's like rotting and decaying, so they thought they should make his feet smaller, whatever it was. Good call on the sculptor's part.
His
um,
face looks like he's from Pan's Labyrinth.
it really does. And he has like a crown made of bones covering his eyes. He's
Mm-hmm.
cool. He's cool. So hopefully the rest of like the vampire's court is as interesting and cool as this model.
Well, there was like a picture, an illustration of them
Oh,
in the
yeah, I
video.
sort of saw that. I didn't look like I hardly watched it. Well, if you look at this, he's sitting on like a throne, and there's the Gravedigger dude, and there's some, I don't know,
Possibly female vampire.
maybe that's what that is. Ben saying small feet equals glowing endorsement. It's as pathetic as that is, it's pretty much true. Because GW like never does it. Well, I guess we haven't talked about the vampire hunter dude. Um,
His feet are even semi-small.
his
But
feet
he's
are actually pretty small. It's just the soles of his boots are like huge, which is fine.
I generally like this model. I kind of wish they didn't put as much metal and shit on him. His metal thigh and shin guards, and like even his hat. It's just like, why not bolt a metal arrow onto it?
I think this vampire hunter guy, he's a little too cool for school. They a lot of the visual elements on him, it's just like, let's dial this up to 11. Like, he needs stakes. He needs lots of stakes. Let's make the stakes 5
I
times longer than they
think
need to
if
be.
they have a fake element, he would be a lot cooler of a model. Because if you cut off the stake component of his rifle, the rifle is like one of the best rifles they've ever done.
Yeah, like the bore of the barrel isn't even huge.
Yeah, like I feel it's
Yeah,
like
if
actually
you
looks
cut
somewhat
off the whole
reasonable.
stake launcher,
And even his little hammer, like the head of the hammer is kind of ridiculous, but not really Games Workshop ridiculous.
I mean, the hammer's kind of small. My favorite aspect of him is his sword on his back. Like, it's a cool looking sword.
That's a vampire hunter deep sword.
It really is. So it's a cool model, and I feel with some
People are getting
modification.
back into an inquisitors for days.
Oh yeah. Sword strapped to a book, classic. I mean, that is what it's like. He has this pouch on his back that maybe it has a book in it. I think that's kind of what it implies. Um, Like,
Mhm.
I'm just thinking about it, like, I don't like his metal, like, shin braces or whatever. Just think if he had a cool pair of pants that, like,
Trap keeper, yeah.
yeah, it would
Well,
be
like
great.
so, like, the shin guards are so extensive that I feel like would make it hard for him to move, but his days of moving are also cut short because of those stakes, like, he's carrying around a forest of
Mm-hmm. Well, and then the
he
belt.
even has them on the other side, like, he has so many stakes on him.
Well, the belt that he's using, is that belt what's holding on his Trapper
So,
Keeper book? Like,
like,
holy shit. That is a substantial belt. Like,
Looks like it came right out of Final Fantasy.
but they're not even that ridiculous most of the time. And, like, the belt that he's wearing around his waist is so broad, like, it would probably be hard to even put on. Like, that's
everything about it
intense.
hard to tackle with.
I feel the biggest thing that you'd want to do is, I mean, you could even keep some of those stakes on the model. It's just make them
Like,
probably a third of the size.
half the model is stakes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 'cause in general, I like the model a lot, but I wish some of that stuff was cut back a little bit.
Yeah.
All stakes all the time.
Worldwide Wrestling Champion buckle. I mean that. Yeah, you're right. That's kind of what we're dealing with here. Um, I sort of all of his metal armor I don't really like very much. Um, Particularly as we said, his like shin guards.
Well, to me,
He's
almost
not.
when you first
He's
see it, because of how burnished the armor and stuff looks like I almost didn't even realize it was armor, or maybe some of it isn't. Does he have a breastplate, or is that just like a double-breasted cape coat thing?
I think it's a double-breasted coat.
That's better if it
I
is.
think. Brett says his thick belt is from when he won Miss America. Could be true. Um, yeah, I mean, it's a cool model. It'll be used everywhere, literally everywhere, in conversions and stuff, which, and I mean, it makes sense. This is another model that I'd be very interested to see the scale that it is. Like, I
Hmm.
imagine it'll be similar to the stuff we saw in, like, Blackstone Fortress, because
On
if
a
it,
rock, but like this is like the best way you can put them on a rock.
yeah, he is on a rock, that's true, but he's not. He's just standing on some rocks that are flat.
He's
um,
actually standing up, like he isn't in a wide squatting pose,
yeah,
so
he's
that makes
standing straight. It's like almost a miracle. Also, as I was saying in Blackstone Fortress, like a lot of the hero models are really, really large. Like Janus Drake, I think his name is, the rogue trader, he is huge. And so I imagine all of these hero models are going to be huge.
yeah.
Um, which I guess is fine. But I think they could do a good job of playing around with scale in this to make the heroes and stuff look under equipped to deal with like the undead hordes and monstrosities
Mhm.
and stuff they're going to
This
face.
will be the first time they release new zombies.
Maybe, hopefully they do. Because you would sort of like it to have some horror elements to it that make it look like the heroes actually have a
Yeah.
difficult task ahead of them, which um here, this vampire hunter, he looks like he could take on the world. And he's convinced he can. Brett saying the Blackstone cultists were taller than the old Chaos Space Marines. Yeah, I mean, so that's true. They are quite a bit bigger. Well, I mean, the cultists in Blackstone Fortress, they're probably as tall as the Chaos Space Marines in Blackstone Fortress. I think that was one of the we really railed on Blackstone Fortress about all of the Chaos Space Marines in the game. While they were a lot bulkier than older Chaos stuff, they were still really squat and small, and they kind of really did a disservice to Chaos Space Marines in general. But yeah. So I don't know, I think this Warhammer Quest thing was by far the most interesting thing they showed, and I'm interested in seeing where they go with it. And like they even have a website for it. I don't know if it shows anything.
Visit it.
There wasn't much there when I went.
It seems to suggest there will be 6 like hero models, and they've shown. Well, okay, let's see. This vampire hunter is a one-man death squad with a merciless streak a mile wide. He was once a part of the order, well-known fearsome hunter, which is. He was expelled.
You know it's cool.
He was probably expelled because he wanted to use stakes that were 3 times the size of the ones ordained. And then what is also interesting, so it seems the vampire has a bunch of overlords, and this sort of suggests that he only has 5 overlords. So I guess they're like more of the evil hero characters, maybe.
Yeah, probably different missions that face off against them before you.
Okay, Gorslav the Gravekeeper. So he tends the crypts. He buries people alive. That's good for him.
One's got to do it. Yeah, but I think it looks cool. I mean, I'm excited to see what is ultimately done with it.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully all of the character models are at least as interesting as the 2 they've shown here, but hopefully like even a lot more interesting. But we'll see.
You can kind of see some of them, but it wasn't really clear what they are. Isn't really clear. But they'll probably start revealing them relatively frequently, maybe. Who knows? I guess it's hard to get a sense of when things will be released anymore.
I'm just trying to watch some of this video to see, like, I think they have a thing showing some of the heroes. It does look like there are zombies with, like, gravestones tied to them. Okay, so in terms of the heroes, there's the witch hunter guy. There's, like, a wood elf archer character. That looks like a Caradron Overlord guy with a dumb spike gun. There's a larger armored brute, maybe like an ogre or something. So I don't know. So already those 3 additional characters are not that interesting. But we'll see. They could still be cool. Like, I really hope they're cool. Yeah, the one looks kind of like an ogre.
I feel that has the most potential, or well,
The elf will not be cool.
Yeah. The elf probably won't be cool. The dwarf, the Caradron Overlord will probably be really dumb looking.
The ogre could be neat.
The ogre could be cool. Yeah, so overall, like, it was a good reveal stream. All the Age of Sigmar, Warhammer stuff was good. The kill
I feel the
team stuff was bad.
fun was semi unexpected in a way. Like Warhammer Quest was a new thing. It looks kind of cool. Like another Titan, like a more interesting Titan. That's cool. Awesome new Primaris. Like it. So good.
Something for everybody, right? The little Necron floating dude really reminds me of some of the stuff that Nick Tregejo or Cordal on Instagram. He was
Mhm.
already doing a lot of this stuff with them holding different geometric shapes and cubes and stuff. So he sort of fits right in with that. Oh, and then the Sister of Battle shit, like, I don't know. Not cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. So overall, it was a pretty good preview. More interesting than what I was anticipating or expecting. And
Hmm. I agree.
I agree. So yeah, I don't know if there's any. Since that preview, I haven't really been paying attention to the community website to see if they had anything new.
Add some rules for that big Titan, but didn't mean a whole lot to me.
Oh, they have a few more pictures of this vampire hunter dude from the Cursed City.
So you can see that there are indeed so many spikes.
Yeah, I mean, they don't really show you too much more, but you do get a better view of his boots. They're pretty small. The spikes are in fact huge, like we thought. Um, his rifle, his rifle is cool. Just remove the stupid stake launcher, and it's like the nicest Warhammer-esque rifle I think they've ever made. And look at that, the bore of the barrel. Like, that's actually reasonable for like a really large rifle.
Like it looks like it would even be pretty easy to cut off the spike, the stake thing.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be super easy to get rid of the stakes on his torso because like he's all stakes, but
It would still be okay. Like, they're just, yeah, you'd
yeah.
remove those. And then just you could just replace them with other like pouches and other equipment.
Yeah, or you could remove the stupid arrow on his hat.
Yeah, it's dumb looking. Tools of the trade, oh my god, I hope, what do they call this shit? Hopefully they have cool names.
Long
It's
barreled
just a
rifle.
long barreled rifle.
That's cool.
Deadly
He's
accuracy.
called the Judgment. He fires
Excellent.
sanctified mort silver bullet.
Pretty cool.
The stakes burst into flames when they when they hit undead targets. That's cool.
Mhm.
I figured.
Yeah.
Well, maybe maybe it's time to call this stream, guys.
Yeah, I think we probably can. We've talked about all of the new releases and such, and I think that's sort of what we were planning to do tonight. Um, so yeah, I guess thanks everybody for joining us and chatting with us, asking us questions. It's been fun. Um,
Mhm.
Stay safe, stay healthy, keep on enjoying the hobby, and we will talk to you all again soon.
Yeah, see ya, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.